Did not expect that. Actually lost one due to not knowing those Hydras are coming. It looks like Shuffle is going to try and pick off whatever he can here with these Hydras to try and keep himself in the game. But a Colossus is now coming out with those Hydras off creep. They're going to get mulched by this, as we do have a lot of Overlords coming with Overlord speed to try and get some creep down there for Shuffle to get them some mobility with those Hydra lists. But no, sees that a Colossus, realizes he needs to back off.
Wow, that was really excellent play. I mean, you don't see that too much. Overlords with speed that do lay down creep, I mean, making a moving highway. So I really haven't seen that very often in many Diamond players. So Shuffle there really taking advantage of the fact that Overlords can literally poo creep. So I like the fact that he's done that, and would like to see not only those creep tuners being used, but more Overlords kind of extending the range of that highway more quickly. I hope that's what he's doing now, because I see an Overlord moving towards the front of that creep tumor highway, which is slowly making its way over to Optic space. A little bit confused though, like back earlier in the game, Optic did opt to make a Immortal. I'm not sure if that's because he didn't have many gateways up or he was fearing roaches, but that Immortal at the moment, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a great unit, but really not going to be able to do too much if they do get into a battle with regards to there's a lot of Hydras on the field.
Yeah, so that third expansion is now up and running for Shuffle. He has his Queen out, starting to pump a lot of drones to it. It is in the complete different spot, like just a completely random spot that Optikzero probably won't check for a while. He is getting quite a few Colossi, and lucky for him, Shuffle has gone almost purely Hydra, so that would be extremely effective versus that. And in response, Shuffle is actually getting a heap. 14 Roaches are coming out on the field, as well as Roach Speed as well. He's also got the 2 Evo chambers. He hasn't got it upgrades just yet, but he is sitting on 141 food with 117 of Optikzero, as Corruptors come out now as well for Shuffle.
Yeah. Perfect timing there for Shuffle to whip out those Corruptors. I mean, we do have a lot of Colossus coming on the field. We've got 4, and that's a significant amount, which will obviously be able to demolish any kind of Hydra army with appropriate micro. But there's not too many Stalkers. There's only 5 Stalkers, so those Corruptors can come out. I'm sure they'll be able to take out those Colossus without too much trouble.
Shuffle losing a Queen unnecessarily, and a Spike Roll as he moves up. And Optikzero wisely bringing an Observer with his army to take out all of those creep tumors. That's really going to set Shuffle back, especially with this Hydra heavy army. He's just going to be stuck back in his base, and he is showing down our 4th base now, right out front of Optikzero's base. It is going to be very close. I'm not sure if these Colossi are going to be able to snipe it in time, but he's just clearing out all these creep tumors, and there does get a cancel on the hatchery for Shuffle, as Optikzero doing a great job of forcing Shuffle back into his main base here, and is taking pot shots at the Overlords as well. Does not want to get a good get surrounded here though. Colossus going off, great force fields.
Wow.
Isolating all those units, and Shuffle forced to pull back.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent use of force fields there. Really having to move back their Shuffle. Like, was forced to not engage, because that range from the Thermal Lance is actually 9, which is completely like outranging any kind of Zerg unit at all. I don't think there
Here
is
we
a
go
Zerg
again,
unit.
and again, the action is actually covered up by these Overlords. I'm not sure whether that's intentional or Shuffle to keep some fire from these Stalkers or not, but these Colossi are tearing apart everything. The Stalkers are taking out a lot of the Corruptors, but the Corruptors are whittling down the numbers of these Colossi. There are 3 left. More Roaches being pumped out by Shuffle, trying to take desperately out these Colossi. There's 4 Stalkers left with 2 Colossi. 3 Corruptors trying to desperately to finish up, throwing down Corruptors on these Colossi, and oh my god, he might just barely hold this off as Shuffle does go down and he's creeping, spewing out some creep to try and get his units in for a nice counter attack, but no, it looks like he's not going to be able to do it, as he is throwing down another 4th base on the other side of the map.
Wow, I mean, what an absolutely great little battle there. I mean, every single unit ability was used. I mean, the Roaches were used by Shuffle to get in there and take out most of the Zealots, which wasn't a problem. I like the fact that he had the Overlords sitting over there, so it was very confusing to see for any player. But obviously, Shuffle has the advantage there because he's got his units hotkeyed. I like the fact that he used Corruption on the Colossus, which obviously means that they take an extra 20% more damage, whilst they've got that ability, used on them. So it managed to. The Corruptors managed, obviously, to drop those Corruptors a lot more quickly. One thing I did notice that did go wrong for Optic there was he didn't manage to single fire all the Corruptors with his Stalkers, and it actually led to his downfall. I think that if he had a little bit better control there on his Stalkers, he could have turned that around. But excellent job there by Shuffle, just getting that kind of units, the right ones, yeah.
So he did sack a couple of Overlords there to see exactly what was in Optikzero's base. Optic really running out of minerals in his main base at the moment. He's going to try and take some kind of 3rd base if he's not They're going to do it soon. He's going to be in trouble. But creep being spewed all over the map by Shuffle. Greatly done by him. Just keeping all these expansions. Does not want Optic to be able to expand. And looks like we have had a tech change here to Mass Zealot with a lot of Stalkers and Immortals. That's going to be interesting to see how well Shuffle's army holds up to this, as we do have more Overlords everywhere. And it's really going to be a mainly Roach army here at the moment, as a great tech switch by Optikzero. And here we go. Great force fields catching a lot of the units off guard. These Immortals going to work on all these Roaches, making them melt extremely fast as the Zealots tank a lot of the damage. So there is a great Guardian Shield out, but it has been dropped now, and so many Immortals. Shuffle forced to pull back, and Optikzero choosing this time to just really back off and consolidate his forces. I don't think he's even seen these expansions over the side, has not seen the expansions, but just poking back and forth with so many Immortals here. Shuffle's going to be in a lot of trouble if he decides to engage. He doesn't engage here. Immortals at the front, they are dropping extremely quickly, but they also are melting these Roaches and all we can, and there's so many gateways here. Reinforcements for Optikzero being extremely effective here. The Zealots are taking so much damage, and looks like Shuffle might be in trouble here, even though he does have those two extra expansions.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
This one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that. I mean, they both switched tech there. I mean, we saw Shuffle turn into more of a Roach-heavy build rather than Hydra because he was afraid of those Colossus. And at the same time, and I don't know how this was managed by Optic, he immediately switched to mass-produce Zealots, Stalkers, and Immortal, which is obviously the counter for Roach, because you can use those Zealots as the main shield. And then obviously the Immortals can just keep peeling away those Roaches like nothing else. So absolutely excellent play there by both of them. Really good read by Optic there, just to quickly counter the tech build. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think of that? Unstable?
Well, it's going pretty okay, but Shuffle, because he does have that extra expansion down here, he will still have the income, as Optic is mined out at his natural and almost at his main as well. He needs to get a third up and running as soon as he can. We are having 114 supply for Shuffle, but he is losing all his tech producing structures, so this could hurt him, as he will have to rebuild all of those before he can reproduce his army. Like I was saying, 106 supply for Shuffle, 135 for Optic. I'm not sure if Shuffle's going to be able to hold on to this one. He's throwing down a spawning pool and a Roach Warren now before that's all this units get taken out. But really, it's going to come down to, can Shuffle amass an army big enough to help deal with this soon? Because he is...
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. I'm really surprised due to the fact that, you know, you've got here the army sizes. They're relatively the same, although Shuffle was completely annihilated in that last battle. Obviously losing his main base, except for he's got the entire army. We've got Roaches. Let's have a look at the unit count. We've got 14 Zerglings, we've got 5 Hydra, we've got 28 Roaches and a Corruptor. So an excellent little bit of an army there that I'm sure could fend off any kind of initial attack. But we've got Optic, who, yes, he doesn't have much money. He is trying to secure that expansion, but he's got a very sizable army himself. So it'll be good to see. I think Optic needs to make a move now.
Yeah, so we do have Optikzero trying to take that third base now, as he's completely mined out everywhere. He cannot leave that Nexus. If that Nexus drops, it is game over for him, really, as Shuffle does have the income advantage right now. Optic has the probes, which is now distance mining to his natural Nexus. But Shuffle does have these 2 hidden bases, so good on him for throwing those up. He does have all the gas down now for it, as we still have creep tumors everywhere, and Overlord's creep a lot of the place, so he's going to see if Optic tries to go for any other base. But really, distance mining for Optikzero right now, while Shuffle tries to amass some kind of army to be able to deal with this, as it is still Immortal, Zealot, Sentry heavy. There are no Colossi, so that...
And here comes a push now as well from Shuffle.
Trying to move...
Oh no, Shuffle's sensing...
No. The Spine Crawler is being taken out here. Just wrong position, wrong place, wrong time, and if I were Shuffle, I would really be hanging back, trying to get as big of an army as he could while this Nexus goes up.
One thing I would like to quickly point out, just as that Nexus for Optic does finish, long distance mining is, it's a major impact. I mean, you would expect the pros, because they are bringing continuous stream to the other Nexus, to have an okay amount of mining, but
as that happens, we do have an engagement here. Lots of Roaches versus all these units. Nice cut-off. Great force fields by Optikzero here, cutting off at least half of that army, just making those Roaches at the front melt. More force fields going down, so it is consistently cutting off the army. I don't know how much energy he's got left in these sentries, but he can't have much. Oh my god, just more force fields. Just completely melting the army of Shuffle, because he could not get any kind of surround on these units. These Immortals tearing it through all the Roaches, and Shuffle's in a lot of trouble. He's at 103 supply to 114, but he is extremely Roach heavy with those Immortals there, and so much energy left on the force fields. And more force fields go down, just completely just melting all these Roaches with the Immortals in this mix. And unfortunately, I don't see how Shuffle can bring this one back. He's just completely outgunned. Great force field placements, and holy crap, that's full crit coming from Shuffle as those force fields just turn the tide of the game. So nicely done by Optikzero.
That was an